Well, it looks like Clemson survives again. They just beat Syracuse with end of the game on interception. Good for them, whatever. Uh, Disappointing Thursday night. My voice is still recovering. I hollered a good bit. I've got the game notes here, and my opinion hasn't drastically changed since I released the video when I was driving home, but I rewatched the game. I was going to break down film, but I don't have a good way of capturing that without getting in trouble and putting it in a video. But just consider you didn't watch the game, and you have to tell me what happened based on what I said, who won the game, what I tell you right now. So Georgia Tech was +2 in the turnover margin. We scored on defense. We blocked a punt. Virginia was, let's see, they were 2 for 14 on third downs. They were 1 for 3 on fourth downs. They had 10 penalties for 92 yards. Time of possession was about equal. What would you have said that game looked like? Would Tech would have won? Would they have blown them out? Would they have lost? I would say, man, we had to have won that game. +2 in turnover margin. They can't convert a third down to save their life. We score on defense. Wasn't so. So after watching the game, I don't think our offensive line played as badly as it seemed. Now, they didn't play good, but it wasn't a total failure on the offensive line. In my opinion, it was really, once Gibson came in, a total failure on his part. If you knew Sims wasn't 100%, which it seemed like he wasn't coming into the game, Collins even said it would be a game time decision. Take that with a grain of salt. Who knows how true that actually is. You have to prepare your backup to play. You have to get him a good number of reps with the ones, which in the post game he said he did have a lot of reps with the ones, but it didn't show at all during the game. So probably 4 or 5 of those sacks were Zach Gibson's fault. So when you're preparing for a game, it seemed like Virginia's game plan was, we're going to blitz one and just make you beat us throwing the ball, especially once Gibson came in. So if you're a quarterback pre-snap, they're showing blitz, and even as a coaching staff, you got to think they're probably going to blitz. They're going to put a lot of pressure on a quarterback that hasn't got, I don't think, any playing time wearing a Georgia Tech jersey. You need to have hot routes called. And you need to tell your quarterback, hey, they're probably going to blitz. We need to be looking to dump the ball off quick. And I've seen a lot of people say the play calling was bad, particularly on offense. I don't think it was great, but it wasn't horrible by any means. Zach Gibson missed read after read. I think it was in the third quarter. They were in a cover 2 look, and we had a corner flat concept. We're going this way to Gibson's right, and he makes the right read and just misfires, and you've got to make those throws. Backpedaling a little bit, the first pick with Sims, that was a little bit of a regression too. Sims, they were in a cover 3 look, and we had Malachi Carter coming across the back of the end zone, so we basically had a jump ball with the safety of Malachi, and just threw it behind him. If he throws it another foot in front of where he did, that's a touchdown. Ended up being a turnover. That being said, Sims did make some big throws. He was able to move around in the quarterback and put the ball where it needed to go. So that was nice to see. But once Gibson came in, it's like all bets were off. We couldn't do much of anything. And again, I don't think that was on the offensive line. If they're blitzing more players than you have linemen to block them, and your quarterback holds on to the ball, that is 100% on the quarterback. So I don't know if once they started doing that, if Winky talked to him, if Long talked to him, said, "Hey, you need to be looking for the hot route." No, we weren't able to dial it up. In that last play of the game, I had actually left, admittedly, with about 2 minutes to go. I didn't think we were going to get the ball back. And he runs out of bounds. I'd released a video, I think it was yesterday. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. I honestly don't think that he thought he had another play in. It really seemed like, and I could be wrong, he threw the towel in. If he thought he had another play, you would think he'd be running back to the line of scrimmage to get another play off. He didn't have any urgency once he ran out of bounds. It seemed like he just wanted to go to the locker room. And in the post-game press conference, he's like, well, it's just one play. We shouldn't have got ourselves into that position, which I get, but it seems like Reggie Ball, when he throws it away on fourth down. Would you say that's just one play? No. Everything you've done in the game culminates up to getting you to that play, I mean, if you take one play out of a lot of football games in college football and just give up on them, the outcomes of those games are going to change. The team that won is probably going to lose. So you've got to at least give yourself a chance. So it seemed like if you had Zach Gibson in your NCAA 14 dynasty, his awareness would like run zero, because he wasn't able to pick up hot reads. He doesn't throw. He runs out of bounds the last play of the game. Very disappointed. Just seemed like he was just entirely unprepared. That being said, that we were getting pushed around a good bit up front, and that's on defense too. Our defense did play well on the play where early, I think it was in the first quarter, where they fumbled it. He ran up, got the first down, and fumbled it. They actually came off, got a double team on our tackle and turned him, and they had motioned and taken Charlie Thomas out. He had to go respect the play action, and we weren't able to fill back with our linebackers. And there's a few plays where that happens, where we just got beat up front and got turned. And I'll give their quarterback all the credit in the world. He was able to do everything that Zach Gibson wasn't able to do. He was able to see the blitz. Their offensive line was able to pick up the blitz. I don't know if we got a sack in that game. I'd have to look back. He was able to throw it where the blitz came from, and he was able to run the ball very effectively. He was able to just put his foot in the ground and get straight up field. So, last thing I want to talk about is we had a lot of mental errors. So the play with the illegal touching, you can only have 7 players on the line of scrimmage. That play with the illegal touching, our tight end was supposed to be off, and he lined up on. And then we ended up, you can't be the first guy to touch the ball in that case. He ended up catching the ball, and we got penalized, which was brutal, and those are things like you just can't have. At a bare minimum, once you break the snap, you've got to know, where am I lining up? What is my responsibility? And what if something different goes on? So they're showing blitz. Now, do I pick this guy up? And look, it is incredibly difficult to play offensive line. It's not talked about a lot. If you're playing tackle, what if he's lined up a shade outside your right shoulder and then moves head up? All right, then the ball snap, what if they stunt? So now he comes down and the guard picks him up and another guy comes outside. You've got to know all of that, and it seemed like we were just caught flat-footed. So what do we do moving forward? Is there any hope? I think there is, but it's going to hinge on a vast improvement in quarterback play. I think Sims is probably out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. If you look back, it looked like his ankle got turned pretty extreme. I would think he probably had an MRI to check, but I think he's going to be out a while. I don't think we'll get any concrete answer from Key on what his availability is going to be. But I think you got to work with Gibson. You got to be like, look, dude, I mean, you just got to know what's going on pre-snap, and you got to know when to get the ball out. And we've got to play much better up front. Now, you also have to prepare the third string guy from Clemson. I forget his name. It starts with a T. There's not a quarterback that plays for Clemson that you can pronounce his name. Uwe Ungalele. So you've got to prepare him to play too. And he might give you better chances where he's fairly fleet-footed, more similar to Sims, where, sometimes if the team blitzes, you can step in front of it and get a big play running with the quarterback. I see a lot of people talking like, this is the thing about fans, like, Key's the greatest, now Key's the worst. Chip's the greatest, now Chip's the worst. I don't think you can base that off one game. All right, so we got to look and see what happens, from here on out. Now, we have to win 3 out of 4 ACC games moving forward. So they're all ACC games leading up to Georgia. We've got Florida State next week. Florida State's coming off a bye. So this is going to be, I think this next game will tell us everything we need to know as far as, are we able to make adjustments? Is this staff solid? We can get, I think, a lot about Long and Key, how we prepare for a team that's coming off a bye when we're not. So we've got Florida State. Who do we got? Virginia Tech. So Florida State on the road, Virginia Tech on the road. We come home and play Miami, and then we've got to go on the road and play North Carolina. So we got to find a way to win 3 out of 4 of those. And I think it's possible. Our defense is playing incredibly well. If we can make some big improvements in quarterback, we've got a shot. When your defense is playing as well as ours is, and can keep us in the game, I think it's a miracle we were only down by 7 in that game. That's a testament to how well our defense played and how well our special teams played. We block a punt. I know we did miss a field goal. We were able to tip one of theirs, ended up taking points off the board. But there's no reason to say, hey, that, like, there's no point in the season. We got to get a proven head coach or whatever. Let's see what happens here moving out. So appreciate you watching the video. I'll talk to you guys later.